Towing a large trailer in city areas can become stressful, as lots of situations arise that require you to adjust your position and speed. You need to remain alert, and by steering correctly, this gives you the ability to respond appropriately to both the left or right in equal amounts. You need to be vigilant and keep the eyes moving, looking for and predicting possible hazards ahead. Remember, your braking distance is increased, so you need to plan and scan further ahead. You also need to ensure your trailer lights are working, because with a trailer on the back, you need to signal earlier and give yourself more time, especially when making a sharp turn. Since the trailer undercuts your cornering line, that is, it turns inside the curve, you will need to adjust your road position to allow for this and turn later than you normally would. For very long trailers, you will need to turn as late as possible and input the steering quickly to ensure the trailer doesn't leave the edge of the road or hit something. Just like with trucks, if your combination of tow vehicle and trailer is longer than 7.5 metres and is correctly fitted with do not overtake turning vehicle signs, and you have to, you are permitted to turn the corner from the lane adjacent to the one you're in, and when necessary use both lanes of a roundabout. Also, when towing large trailers in built-up areas, you have to plan ahead to avoid getting stuck in a location where you cannot turn around, as you cannot reposition the tow vehicle to get the correct angle to get the trailer to follow a new path. In effect, you are stuck driving forward and reverse over the same wheel tracks. The only option in such a predicament is to safely disconnect the trailer and realign the tow vehicle and then reattach. Because it's embarrassing, time-consuming, and annoying, you need to be careful when you drive into a location to ensure there is access to turn around and exit. Merging makes some people sweat. There are the aggressive mergers who force their way in a very threatening manner. Then there are premature mergers who try to avoid conflict and change lanes early. There are also the people who happily wait till the road that was built to drive on comes to an end and then they merge according to the rules, but others often see this as rude behaviour. There are two main scenarios when it comes to merging two lanes of traffic into one. There is the lane ends merge, where the vehicles whose lane terminates are required to signal and give way to traffic in the through lane. Then there is the form one lane, zip together, merge in turn scenario, where no lane actually comes to an end, so the vehicle in front should proceed first, and signals, although courteous, are not required because no lane is actually terminating. The lines on the road define what you can and can't do and where to position your vehicle. Opposite this stop sign is the solid stop line, which you are required to stop behind. That driver failed. On the other side, the broken line means give way. Here the turning lane ends with broken lines, meaning you must give way to the vehicle turning into this road. Here your lane ends and you are required to merge into the through lane. You must signal and give way as you enter the lane to your right. Here the dotted lines define your lane across an intersection. By turning across the lines, the driver has caused a costly crash. A driver may, however, drive on or over a solid white edge line for up to 100 metres. If the driver is turning at an intersection or entering or leaving the road or stopping at the side of the road. On this roundabout, the painted arrows show what movements are permitted from what lanes. The BMW driver on your right has failed to see the arrows do not permit them exiting the roundabout across your path. But it does surprise many to learn that you can turn across one solid line to leave or enter the road into private property. You can't overtake along this stretch of the road, but you definitely can turn across a solid line to enter or exit private property. When merging and changing lanes, you cannot cross a solid line. You are supposed to wait until it becomes broken. Though you are allowed to drive onto a painted island surrounded by a solid line, not a double line, for up to 50 metres to enter or leave the road or to enter a turning lane that begins across the painted island. But it should be obvious that you cannot overtake across a painted island. Hopefully this guide helps you to better see and better understand the painted lines and markings on our roads. A stale green traffic light is one that's been green ever since you've seen it. A beautiful driver will lift their foot up and cover the brake pedal and check their mirrors just in case it changes. Traffic lights trigger from a sensor pad in the road surface. During peak times, the traffic lights will just change on a 2 or 3 minute cycle. But in off-peak periods, when your vehicle crosses the sensor pad, you will trigger the light changing process. Regardless, when the lights go green, check for the red light runner from hell coming from your right-hand side. Now, it surprises many drivers to learn that when the traffic lights turn amber, you are required to stop unless it is unsafe to do so. So these drivers have no reason not to stop and are definitely running red lights. Hence why you should check to the right and then to the left before proceeding on a freshly changed green light. As discussed in other videos in this series, running a light in a city often doesn't achieve anything. You only end up queued at the next intersection, especially if the lights are linked in sequence. In this scenario, the vehicle fitted with the dash cam is approaching a green light and is almost wiped out by the white four-wheel drive running a very red light. Hence why many people are killed and seriously injured at intersections, as the side of the vehicle is exposed to the collision and your vehicle's door and seatbelt don't offer much crash protection for side impacts. To lessen the chance of a head-on collision, it is advisable that defensive drivers position their vehicle close to the left side of the road, whenever possible. However, in suburban streets, look out for overhanging trees where you may need to drive closer to the centre of the road. Every day, as you commute, you will see drivers do reckless and aggressive things in the attempt to save time. Whether it is them speeding up merging lanes to jump ahead in queues, tailgating and then dangerously cutting you off on roundabouts, dive bombing in front to get one more car length ahead, failing to give way and obey the road rules only to push ahead in the traffic queue, or tailgating and then passing you dangerously over a solid line while speeding. But while some of these drivers disappear from your sight, they are rarely getting the reward for the risks being taken, not to mention the fuel being burnt and the wear on their vehicle's brakes and tyres. Sometimes you even have the satisfaction of seeing this play out. You catch up on the driver and have an internal chuckle, though with road rage I would urge you not to beep or wave at them. What actually dictates travel time in a city is not speed and acceleration, but rather luck. Here the lights have changed and the ambulance and white SUV have accelerated harder and made it through the next lights before they changed. My vehicle, through bad luck, caught an orange light and I needed to stop, but the other driver decided to run the very orange light. Now you might think you'll never see these drivers again, but through bad luck, here they all are. The ambulance, the white SUV and the orange light runner are all at the next lights. So accelerate smoothly. Drive carefully and let those intent on spending more for nothing gained cut, weave and risk it all for the bragging rights at the next queue. Here's an experiment. I've pulled up behind this large truck on a road I know and travel every day. Now the car in the other lane does nothing wrong. When the lights change, their car accelerates much better than this large truck. As it's a 70 km/h zone, they are permitted to drive in the right lane. Since I know the road, I've discovered that speeding and hard acceleration just results in queuing longer at the next traffic lights, and progress is all dictated by luck. By using the other car as a comparison, I accelerated at the truck's slow pace, but still ended up at the same traffic lights. So the end result was no lost time and far better fuel consumption, saving me money. So here is the same piece of road on a different day. Through luck, I get a green light this time. But watch the black four-wheel drive in the right lane. This driver is aggressively tailgating the car in front. Since it's a 70 km/h zone, vehicles are not required to move out of the right lane. The black four-wheel drive is intimidating the car driver. So the black four-wheel drive hopes to get in front of this car. As the dash cam shows in the bottom corner, we're all at the speed limit. So let's see who achieves what. But the end result is we all queue at the next traffic lights together. The car in the right lane wanted to turn right. The black four-wheel drive didn't want to be in that lane after all. and I have smoothly driven along this road, minding my own business, knowing a red light was ultimately ahead of me. Now, these other drivers might not know this road like I do, but this sort of thing plays out everywhere. You are commuting after all. Speeding and aggressive driving across a city get you nowhere faster and waste money in terms of brake and tyre wear and poor fuel economy. My advice is drive smoothly and let the other drivers go.